Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. We're going to talk about the fastest way to get to Castle Age, whilst you also have a knight in queue and prelates out on the field. A little disclaimer though, this one is pretty good in HRE mirrors. I haven't actually lost with it yet, but it is pretty weak when it comes to enemy harassing, so you got to be really good at scouting and then be able to go on wood, get those units out so you can defend, and then postponing your age up a little bit. Just a little disclaimer. Anyways, enjoy the video. So when you're in game, the first thing you'll do is you're going to queue up villages, send your scout out, and then you're going to go 3-3. So 3 on food, 3 on gold. But one of the gold villagers will be building a house on the opposite side of where you're going to build the Aachen Chapel. And that's going to be in between your gold and your TC. So you should build your house to the right here. If your gold was over here, you build to the left. Very simple. So the guys here are going to go onto the sheep. One of the mining villagers will be building the house. These guys are going to start off, and this is where the min-maxing comes in, by building the mining camp together. And then when you're sort of halfway through, you're going to pull one of the villagers off. That's the best way to go with building mining camps without wasting idle time, and when you could have your villagers working instead. We inspire the first 2 villagers here, and then we're not going to inspire the gold villagers anymore. Sometimes with this build you can get a timing at around 2 minutes and 8 seconds, but that's if you're really fast and you got everything min-maxed. Usually you can get it around 2:12, 2:15. That's standard for the HRE age up timings. We're going to be aging up with 4 villages, so it does make us go up before 4 minutes. Scout goes around the base, of course. Scout is going to get the sheep that are around the base. You can get around 8 sheep this way. A little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, depends on how far out on the middle of the map you go initially. Send your villagers back, sorry, your sheep. Send them to the side where you're going to be building the Aachen Chapel, because these guys needs to be inspired as well. This is a really good spawn. We've got the wood, we've got the gold, we've got the stone as well, and we've got the sheep. This is a very, very good position for the Aachen Chapel. Scout is going to keep on going, and now's the time when we're going to be aging up. You're going to look into your gold vein like this, and you're going to see it says 3800. When it says that, you will know that you have enough gold. And usually, you should also be able to just take all your villages, force drop off, which means they take all their food, drop it off, and then just shift click onto the sheep, and they should go right back. You're going to take 4 food villages, and they're going to be your villages that are going to be aging up. So, these drop off, 4 villagers will be sent over here. We keep 2 tiles of space free here so we can build farms safely in between the Aachen Chapel and the town center. So they're going to be aging up now. When they're done constructing, we're going to take 2 villagers to gold and 2 villagers to food. We're just going to rally onto food for the time being. The only thing we're going to be doing is scouting, building 1 house, and then rally to food until we get to Castle Age. So when you are dealing with sheep here, you take 1 villager, and it's going to take out all of the sheep, so you don't have 8 villagers that are killing 1 sheep. That's a lot of idle time for the villagers. Instead, you're going to take one villager and kill each of the sheep, because the other ones are going to be gathering, and if they all have to do it at the same time, you're just going to be delaying yourself. We age up at around 349 here, 350. Immediately, the prelate goes in. It's important you position him close. So, into the Aachen Chapel he goes. You have 5 on gold now. You have 12 on food. We're building another house. And then we're going to be sending this guy back to the food. So, in about a minute's time, we're going to be aging up. The thing is, with this build, it's really difficult if you don't get a second round of sheep here. So, you got to have at least around 10 sheep before you can make this build work. Maybe a little bit less can work, sometimes a little bit more. It also depends whether or not you have berries on your Aachen Chapel. If you do, that's really nice. If you don't, then I would recommend that you play for a little longer feudal age. Maybe you get a barracks out if you spot that the enemy is going for horsemen, and then you go on deer instead. Anyways, we are rallying onto food. We are scouting our enemy to see if they're going aggressive. And if they are, we're just going to take villagers, put them on wood, build some production facilities to secure our Castle Age. But the point of this build is to get up as quickly as possible. So, when we are going to be aging up, we're going to take 8 villagers, and they're going to be building the Aachen Chapel, same as the houses, on the opposite side of the Aachen Chapel. Because the Regnus Cathedral is going to be taking up a lot of space, and we want to free as much space for the Aachen Chapel as possible. So around 5:26 to 30, you're going to be taking your villagers and aging up. So these guys go over here. You're going to leave 3 left on food, and the rest of the food villages will go on wood. The reason we go on wood is because we want to gather enough wood for a stable, another house, and if we don't have Aachen Chapel on wood, a lumber camp. So now we want to cure prelate. You can easily forget this, it's okay, but it's a really good idea that you cure some prelates early on, so you can have them already stationed out on the relics. So you're going to take your prelate from here out, and you're going to queue a prelate in here. Now we're building the stable, taking these guys over here, and we're going to build a house very soon. Now we're going to be aged up, and the timing is 6:40. You cure prelate from the Regnus Cathedral once you have a knight in queue as well. Knight gets in queue immediately. You're going to be securing relics with this guy. If the enemy is not defending the relics, which would be weird, but sometimes they aren't, then you are going to take the knight and harass. And you're just going to keep on making knights. When you can make another stable, you're going to do so. And you need to take 8 food villages as well and get them over to deer, because sometime these sheep will run out. So I would highly advise that once you've taken the relics, you put the 8 villages on deer, you get survival techniques, and maybe you don't need survival techniques if you have a prelate already there. It's not going to be as important, but it's really important that you get that deer and put a prelate on it. Survival techniques comes in later, you can get it immediately if you want to, it's a good idea. As a rule of thumb when you go on deer. Good, we are keeping on making the knights, and we're going to make another stable in a few seconds. This guy comes back, puts it into the Regnus Cathedral. The goal is to get as many towers up with relics as possible, because if you have towers with relics, and you get them upgraded with Springald or later Bombard towers, your enemy will almost not be able to do anything. So, if this was a bit more of a pressured situation, we would be building towers and more defensive units. We would be delaying the deers as well, and playing a little bit more at the base, trying to get control of it. So, for now, we're just gathering relics, and this is pretty much here the build order ends. You can then, if you're not under a lot of pressure and your opponent is turtling up or going for like 3 town centers, it's a good idea to go for Swabia, because that acts as 3 town centers in of itself. So that helps you with your good farm transition. If you put it on the wood here, it can easily make a lot of villages for you to make farms. Otherwise, if you have map control, go out on the map and you can play castle that way. Because you're already in castle, your opponent's in feudal, especially if they go for multiple town centers. They're going to be in feudal for a little longer. Just watch out, they might play feudal age, so pressure. If they are going castle, you need to go Swabia, because they're going to be ahead of you in villages if you don't do so. Right, build towers like this, get relics inside of them. Gonna build another tower over here to defend our backline, and yeah, take the game from there on out. In this game, I go for 2 deer packs, and then I get enough gold and food now to age up to Imperial at around 10 minutes and 45 seconds. Then you age up with 12 villages, and you're gonna go and build a large economy, play the late game. That's a good way to play HRE. When you've aged up, you could consider getting Tithe Barns. It's a must-have. Tithe Barns is something that adds a lot of extra eco to your economy. And this means that if you're going to make a lot of relic towers, so towers with bombards, this one will be really cool because it gives you a lot of stone, a lot of wood, and so you can get even more resources that way. If you have 3 relics plus, it's really worth it. Even if you have 2, I would say it's worth it. Not the first priority if you only have 1 relic. So, use the market if you're being pressured to get a lot of gold converted into wood. Take gold villages off when you have 4 relics because it's going to give you a ton of gold. So, keep your knights out, go crazy. Right, I hope you enjoyed this build order. It's the fastest way to get to Castle Age and still have prelates and knights out. You can probably do it faster by putting more villages on Regnus Cathedral, but that doesn't really matter because then you're not going to have any resources to do anything when you age up. So, This, in my opinion, is probably the most optimal way to go for a fast castle. And I would change it a little bit if I'm being pressured. Just remember that this build falls short whenever people are being pressured. So, good luck.